Bree. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. If you have not, my name is Bree and I'm 18 years old. I am battling stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer, and this is my channel where I just wanted to share my journey and talk about everything kind of cancer related, non-cancer related, kind of all over the map. But today I wanted to do a video of a list of things that I wish I would have known before starting chemo, just about the experience, about some of the things that you might be going through and feeling, and just some tips that I wish I would have realized. And so whether or not you are starting your chemotherapy, or you were just diagnosed, or maybe you're just here watching because you're interested, or you have a friend, I just thought that these are all some helpful things to keep in mind and things that I wish I would have known upon starting chemotherapy. So again, I was on the ABVD regimen and now I am on AVD, so no more bleo. And I have done 8 out of 12 rounds of chemotherapy. So without further ado, let's just get into it. I like to keep these videos super duper casual, not much editing, just kind of like to have a conversation with you guys. And thank you so much for clicking and taking the time out of your day to join me for this little chat. So let's get started. So the first thing that I wish I would have known before starting chemotherapy, or would have realized before starting chemotherapy, was that every chemo experience is different. So I wish I wouldn't have read so many chemo horror stories almost, because I just started to assume that that's how every experience would be, and it's different for every single person. I know that I have not had the exact same experience, there are similar ones, but for me, I just think that I would have loved to know that not everyone has the same situation. And for me, for some reason, I thought that it would be kind of universal, and that is true sometimes, but definitely not true in others. So I would definitely try and avoid reading those chemo horror stories that I found myself wrapped up in when I was first diagnosed. Something else that I wish I would have known before starting chemo is that your body is going to be undergoing a lot of different changes, but that doesn't just mean the hair loss, it can also mean weight loss or weight gain. There are a lot of, for me, I'm on a lot of steroids, and so commonly you hear, oh, there's so much weight loss, and for me it was the exact opposite. It's been weight gain, and it's been really difficult to kind of get into the mindset that this is not forever. And your activity levels, they may change. Like I have days after chemo where I feel on top of the world and I can move around and be up and cleaning and proactive and productive, and then I have days where I feel like I can't get out of bed. I have days where the neuropathy gets to the point where I just cry. And so again, it's not universal, it's not just one situation, and your body is going to react differently, but it's going to be going through a lot of changes that you may not expect or that may not be common. And I have emetophobia, which is an extreme fear of people around me throwing up or vomiting, getting sick, or myself getting sick. And I wish that I would have known that there were so many options. I told my team this, and again, this is why I bring it up. I think it's so important that if you do have some sort of phobia or a real concern, that you bring it up to your team. Because I brought it up, they were able to make a list of things that I can take, things like ondansetron, and they have helped me figure out what works for me. So being able to talk openly with your team and address all of those fears and phobias is so important. And again, if it's something where you feel embarrassed, I promise you someone else is going through or went through something similar. You are not the first one, and it is much easier to talk to someone about it than it is to just bottle it up. Because again, with me, I've been so afraid of the nausea and everything, but I've actually really been able to avoid a lot of it, and it has been super duper helpful. Another thing that I think is super helpful, especially for those of you who have neuropathy, I get really bad neuropathy, usually my 3rd through 6th day post chemo. I wish that I would have known about all of the creams that exist. There are CBD creams, there are creams like Bengay, and stuff works differently for everyone, but I wish I would have known in advance to have those things, because I didn't really prep for that, and then when the pain started, it was awful right off the bat, and I didn't know how to combat it. So that's again another really helpful thing to know. Something else I wish I would have known before starting chemo is that your taste buds really do change. For me, things that are sweet are overly sweet, and things that are too salty are way too salty. And silverware, like metal products, hurt my mouth. I wish that I would have known that there was going to be such a big taste bud change so that I could have adjusted before. And again, people do say that commonly, that their taste buds do change, but I wish I would have known the extent. So just being prepared. And for me, I was really upset when I couldn't eat one of my favorite meals because it just tasted disgusting. And it was right after chemo, one of my first chemos. So just kind of be prepared for those changes and evaluate how you're going to deal with them. For me, a lot of pudding, applesauce, ice cream, things like that are what I did right after my chemos. So this one is just a personal one, but Ativan. You can do chemo without Ativan. I did chemo with Ativan, and it has been one of the most helpful, beneficial things. It helps me to sleep through chemo. If you are anxious, if you are struggling, and there is a way that you can talk to your doctor or chemotherapy nurse about getting Ativan, I highly recommend it. For me, it's given me the ability to sleep through a lot of my treatments, and I know that if I wasn't sleeping through some of these treatments, that my anxiety and phobia would kind of just eat at me. So I think knowing that is really important. Another thing that's really important, and I think one of the most important things, is to talk about cancer community, and what that looks like from all aspects. Now, for me, reaching out was really helpful. There are so many people who have gone through or are going through what you're going through, and that are willing to talk to you. There are so many beautiful organizations and groups and support systems, and I wish that once I got diagnosed, I wish I would have reached out sooner to some of these people and groups, because truly these people understand, and being able to talk to them and have a connection with them is one of the most beautiful blessings, I think, and has helped me a lot through this journey. Another thing that I wish I would have known before chemotherapy, and I knew about it but I didn't choose to do it, and I just thought I'd share, is about transitionally cutting your hair. So I started losing my hair pretty much after my first chemo, but really bad after my second chemo, and I had very long brown hair, and I decided just to shave it, and I dreaded it. It was probably one of the most difficult things that I've ever done, but I just chose to shave it. So I think with that, there are people who cut it shorter first, so that it's easier to shave to make that transition. So I think that that's important to consider, and I wish that someone would have sat down with me and been like, hey, do you maybe want to do a transitional cut? Again, I chose what I chose. I shaved it, and I actually was really happy with that decision, just because it was falling out so quickly. But I do think that's something that everyone should consider if you are going through it, because it definitely can make it a bit easier. Something else I wish I would have known going into chemotherapy was the importance of hydration. And my doctors, they did tell me, they were like, you need to hydrate, you need to hydrate. But I did not understand how important it is to be hydrated. You need to stay hydrated. You need to flush all those toxins out and keep your body rejuvenated and feeling good, because dehydration during chemo is really an awful experience. So you want to make sure that you're hydrating in any way that you can, whether it be tea, iced tea, water, any way that you can. I also really wish I knew the extent of chemo brain and what that feels like, and that it was really real. When people first were talking to me about it in the community, I was like, oh, okay, whatever, it'll happen. But it truly is frustrating, and it can get in the way of trying to multitask and starting tasks and remembering things. For me, I have a lot of difficulty remembering conversations or even pictures, events that happen maybe during that span of chemo time. And I know that this is something that, may be prolonged and may last a bit. So to understand chemo brain and to be able to explain it to someone is really important. And I didn't really realize how bad it could be. Not bad, but just the extent of what it could mean for me. Finally, I wish that I would have known earlier on how close I would be with my care team and how important the support team and your care team is. Your group of doctors, your nurses, those people are there for you. Use them. If you have a question, ask them. If you have a worry, tell them. Because I genuinely cannot express to you the amount of times that I've been afraid to say something and then I've said something and they just have been able to help me. You should not have to struggle, and you should not have to sit in fear, not knowing what's going to happen. There's someone there who wants to help you and support you, and to be able to be close with that team is really special. For me, I'm very close with my nurse who does chemotherapy with me, and she has gotten me through some of the most difficult things that I have ever dealt with, and I love her to death. And I never realized when I started chemo that that would be a kind of bond that I would have with someone. So to really just assess how you feel with your support team and to be open and telling them how you're feeling is so important. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this was of some interest or help to you. Again, I know that this isn't everything. This is just a small list, and I am still undergoing chemo myself and figuring everything out. There's always going to be new experiences, always things that are unpredictable. Chemo is just like that, but I really hope that this was something that you enjoyed watching. So if you have not already, subscribe to me if you want to see more. And on my Instagram, I am most active. It is just at breeze.journey. You can find me there, and I'm always here for you. You are valid, you are important, you are loved. Thank you so much for watching and sending love and positivity always. Thank you.